Hi everyone, so I have some swatches and initial thoughts on this foundation for you today. It's the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation plus concealer, and this is in the shade 00A Porcelain. I'm not sure if you can get this shade anywhere except for Milani's website. In the looking around that I didn't see that anybody else carried it, like at the drugstores and Walmart, I think, were the places I checked, and Target maybe. So if you know of a place that you can buy this either in store or online, please share in the comments. I didn't see anywhere. So I just ordered this for $10 off of Milani's site and paid $5 shipping, which is usually not something I like to do, but I decided I really wanted to try it out to see if the shade worked for me, how the formula worked for me, all that stuff. So about my skin type, usually I am moderately oily in the T-zone and dry in cheeks and a few other places where I have a dermatitis issue which causes flaking. But since I am pregnant now, again, my skin gets much drier. So I only have a little bit of oil production on a small area on my chin, a little bit on my nose. Everywhere else is either dry or very dry. So I've definitely had some struggles getting other foundations I've liked in the past to work on my face. So it's always kind of a variable of like, how is this new foundation going to work? Is it going to work better, etc. But I really do have to make sure to prep my face well to get anything to work. So my skin tone in MAC terms, NC5 to NC10, which usually means that most lightest color foundations in a line will not work for me, but I do have a fair number that I feel like are a decent match. My skin on my neck and chest and body, except for like my forearms, is much lighter than my face, and so I try to lighten my face a little bit so that it will be, so I can even out the redness and tone down some of the freckles that are quite a bit darker and get it somewhere that kind of meshes well with my neck and my chest and my hands. But I'm not looking to cover all my freckles. I prefer, light to medium at most coverage. And I do have some lines, wrinkles, pores. I'm acne prone, but in general, it's pretty well controlled. I want to share some swatches with you today. I have some drugstore, some high end, and we're going to see how I can make this work because I need to change some settings on the camera. So this is Kat Von D in Locket Tattoo Foundation in L41. This is NARS Sheer Glow in Siberia, which is probably my favorite color match, but the foundation formula does not work very well for me. This is Wet n Wild Photo Focus in the lightest shade. Is that Porcelain? I think so. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect in 00A. And this one over here is the, what is this one? Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in 110. So hopefully that is not too washed out. So I did let these all dry and oxidize, which makes them look quite a bit different than what they looked like originally. The Milani is more kind of pinky peach. The Maybelline looks a little bit more orange. The Wet n Wild also looks a tiny bit more orange, but maybe a little bit more yellow. The NARS is quite yellow. And then the Kat Von D is very light, very pink. Not a great match for me on my skin. The formula for me, I feel like works so far. I've had a good amount of success with it as long as I prep well. I've found for my skin being so dry right now that it's sitting nicely over the Peter Thomas Roth Max Sheer All Day Moisture Defense Lotion. This is SPF 30, and I did actually buy this in full size during the Sephora VIB sale. So every other like combination of moisturizer and sunscreen and this and that was not working for me. I also put the Kat Von D Hydrating Primer on the really dry areas, and so far it seems to be wearing most of the day. It's not kind of cracking up and looking cakey. The only places I put powder is on my nose and a little bit on my chin and a little bit right here on my forehead. And on my nose, I keep it to kind of this area because I do tend to have some dryness up here. So this color, I feel like if you're kind of NC10 to NC15 range, I think it might work for you. It is definitely on the kind of warmer side. It's not straight up pink. It's not yellow. I mean, it's hard. I feel like it's a little bit harder to determine undertone when it's so like peachy looking, like it just seems too dark for your skin tone. For me, I feel like it works okay. You know, since I'm not wearing a ton of coverage, it doesn't matter as much specifically how good of a match I have. My face is already kind of dark, so it's a little bit lighter than my actual face skin tone. So I think that works. It's definitely not as light as my neck, but I don't really want to go that light. Longevity wise, it is working pretty well for me, but I feel like it's not really a great test on my skin just because it's so dry right now. So I think most things, as long as I have something that's moisturizing that doesn't break apart foundation underneath, are going to wear pretty well. I have definitely had some things that seem to dry my face out, and this so far has not caused that, but I've only been wearing it for a few days, so I can't really say, you know, long term if it seems to cause any problems. I haven't had any breakouts that I thought were related to this. I did get a couple spots, but I think that's because I had to go so heavily on the moisturizer because my face was like dry and tight and itchy even after putting a ton of moisturizer on for a couple days. I kind of pulled it back from the edge and it seems to be doing better now. And I did get a couple spots, I think just because there was too much moisture on my face. But yeah, I feel like it's a good, so far I've been happy with the formula. The color is workable for me. I feel like as long as I'm primed and moisturized well, it actually looks really nice on my skin. So it does look slightly dry right here, which is one of those places I have the dermatitis. And I've been blowing my nose a lot, so there isn't a ton of foundation left on my nose. And that's not the fault of the foundation. It's not making these pores look like really dry and saggy, which is something that sometimes matte foundations can do. It looks really nice on my forehead in general, I would say. And I do have it on underneath my eyes just because I've been really lazy lately. And it sits okay under there. It's not like making them look super dry, which is something that a lot of things can do. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like so far it seems to be a pretty good value for the price. The color isn't like shockingly light or anything, so it's not groundbreaking in how light it is. But I think it's workable. And if you can wear things like the Wet n Wild Photo Focus and the matte Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in 110, then I feel like this is also a good option. And it seems to wear nicely through the day, seems to have a good amount of coverage, though I use a tiny amount. So it's not really, I'm not helpful at all in the is it full coverage determination. When I do set it with powder, what I'm using is the number 7, let's see, what's this called? Perfect Light Loose Powder, translucent. This seems to work pretty well for me. It seems to work similarly to the Laura Mercier loose setting powder. They seem to work in a similar way for me, which when my skin is more oily, it really helps with the longevity of my foundation. So I like that powder. And it seems to also work well with this foundation. Is there anything else? So this isn't like a full-on foundation review, but I did want to get you guys the swatches just for comparison, see it on my face. If there's a lot of interest and after I've used it for, you know, a couple weeks maybe, I'll do a full foundation review in better lighting. Right now I'm just dealing with a cloudy day, natural lighting, because I don't have light bulbs for my lighting because they didn't come with us when we moved for some unknown reason. I think the people that packed us have like a giant box full of light bulbs somewhere that belong to us. But anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say about the Milani foundation. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments below. If you've used it, if you could just leave a quick comment on what your experience has been, your skin type, your skin tone, all that stuff. Super helpful to everybody else watching this video. So I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. One day I will not be sick. One day. It's been like over a month now. I keep getting new and different colds.